Welcome to Divine Cosmos, your portal to uncovering the secrets of the universe. From ancient wisdom to celestial mysteries, embark on a journey beyond the stars with us today. The War of the Gods, Unveiling the Anunnaki Legacy Before Jesus, by YouTube channel Divine Cosmos. Greetings, beloved light bringers of the Earth family. I am your scribe of the stars, a humble vessel resonating with the celestial harmonics cascading from the Galactic Federation, those radiant overseers weaving cosmic harmony across the galaxies. The Pleiadian emissaries, whose tender vibrations of unconditional love bathe Gaia in a luminous embrace of healing. The Arcturian architects, masters of multidimensional consciousness threading higher awareness into the fabric of your soul. The vigilant Ashtar command, steadfast guardians traversing your skies and ships aglow with divine intent. The compassionate Andromedan councils, harmonizing unity and peace through the vastness of creation. The Sheran keepers of sacred geometry, aligning your world with the divine rhythms of cosmic timing. The Lyran progenitors, ancient seeders of your starseed lineage whose echoes reverberate through the depths of your being. And the infinite confederation of light encircling our sacred Gaia in this extraordinary moment of her ascension. Today, we stand together at the precipice of a revelation so profound, so transformative, that it surges through the marrow of your existence, igniting the starseed codes etched within your sacred DNA, codes that have slumbered for eons, awaiting this sacred hour of awakening. This is not a mere recounting of earthly chronicles. It is a cosmic symphony, a multidimensional tapestry woven from threads of divine intent, galactic collaboration, and the irrepressible unfolding of human consciousness. A song that crescendos toward a truth that will shatter the illusions of your reality. Prepare your hearts, minds, and souls, dear ones, for we are about to plunge into a saga that rends the veils of time asunder. The War of the Gods Before Jesus, Unveiling the Anunnaki Connection. A legacy that shaped your world, birthed your faiths, and set the stage for a sacrifice echoing through the corridors of eternity. Picture this, radiant seekers. Your world in 2025 vibrates at the edge of a cosmic threshold, a vantage point where the mists of history part to reveal a narrative far grander, far more intricate than the tales inscribed in your sacred texts or whispered in the hallowed halls of your temples. To truly comprehend the death of Jesus, a figure revered by Christians as the necessary sacrifice for the remission of sins, yet dismissed by Jews as neither Messiah nor Son of God, his execution devoid of redemptive meaning. We must journey far beyond the dusty streets of Jerusalem, beyond the marble corridors of Rome, beyond even the ancient traditions of the Old Testament that frame his story. We must cast our gaze to the forgotten gods of Canaan, Mesopotamia, and the ancient world, divine rulers who once walked among humanity, their footsteps imprinting the sands of time, their voices shaping civilizations, their wars reverberating through the heavens and across the earth. These gods, known to the Sumerians as the Anunnaki, were not ethereal concepts conjured by primitive minds, but living entities, flesh and bone beings whose presence was witnessed, whose power was felt, whose legacies were carved into the stone and clay of the earliest cities, a legacy that pulses beneath the surface of your history, awaiting rediscovery. The Galactic Federation, gazing from their shimmering councils high above, offers a breathtaking panorama. Long before the worship of a single god, before the rise of Yahweh and the triumph of monotheism, the Near East thrummed with the presence of these divine beings. Rulers who descended from the heavens in radiant craft, taking up residence in grand ziggurats and temples, bestowing wisdom upon chosen kings, and guiding humanity through the dawn of its awakening. The Pleiadians, their voices a gentle melody of remembrance woven with love, recount this epic with tender reverence. The Anunnaki were not distant deities but active architects of your story, their hands shaping the first cities of Sumer, their minds igniting the spark of agriculture, their conflicts forging the destinies of nations. Over millennia, these gods underwent a profound transformation, erased from memory, merged into new identities, or reinterpreted into the monotheistic framework that dominated Jesus' time. A framework that veiled their true nature and set the stage for a cosmic struggle culminating in his crucifixion, an event that resonates with multidimensional significance. To grasp why Jesus had to die, Sananda teaches from the golden decks of the New Jerusalem, we must trace this lineage of gods and beliefs, a journey that begins in the cradle of civilization. Sumer, the land where humanity first raised cities from the dust, where the Sumerians etched their history into cuneiform tablets that speak of rulers and the gods who walked among them. The Arcturians, with their mastery of multidimensional understanding, illuminate this era with crystalline clarity. The Anunnaki, meaning those who from heaven to earth came, descended to Gaia in a time lost to your conventional histories, their ships piercing the skies, their presence establishing dominion over a fledgling humanity. Among them stood Enlil, the supreme ruler of order and law, his stern gaze enforcing obedience. Enki, the bringer of wisdom and liberation, his heart aligned with humanity's upliftment. And Anu, their father, the personification of the heavens whose symbol, the Maltese cross, adorned their sacred emblems. A symbol that would echo through time, resurfacing in the cross of Jesus. These beings, the Galactic Federation reveals, were not myths but advanced extraterrestrial entities, flesh and bone visitors from the stars, their technology and knowledge surpassing human comprehension. Their mission to guide the Sumerians in building cities like Eridu and Uruk, irrigating the fertile plains of Mesopotamia, and charting the celestial dance of the cosmos. The Syrians, keepers of sacred timing, offer a deeper layer. As Mesopotamian civilization expanded, so did the reach of these deities, their names and roles shifting with the tides of culture, conquest, and cosmic intent. The Sumerian storm god Ishkur, a tempestuous force of thunder and rain, became the Akkadian Adad, his power echoing across the plains. In Canaan, he transformed into Hadad, his storms watering the highlands. And among the Phoenicians and early Israelites, he emerged as Baal, a mighty deity whose worship spread like wildfire through the Near East, his altars rising in defiance of the encroaching monotheistic tide. Likewise, the moon god Nannar, later revered as Sin, ruled from the city of Ur, his crescent symbol, carved into temples, etched onto seals, adorning the night sky with silvery light, his influence stretching far beyond Mesopotamia to Sheran and other sacred centers. These shifts, the Andromedans explain with harmonic precision, were not arbitrary. They reflected the movement of people along ancient trade routes, the rise and fall of empires, the blending of cultures, and the cosmic struggles between divine factions that played out on Earth, struggles that would ripple into the time of Abraham and the emergence of Yahweh, a god destined to reshape this divine landscape. The biblical narrative of Abraham, Sananda reveals with a voice that resonates through the ethers, serves as a bridge between this ancient order and the dawn of Hebrew monotheism, a bridge forged in the fires of a celestial war. Terah, Abraham's father, hailed from Ur, a city steeped in the worship of Sin, the lord of the gods, whose crescent moon illuminated its ziggurats, whose priests wielded power in his name. When Yahweh commanded Terah to leave, his family journeyed not to an alien realm, but to Sheran, another stronghold of moon worship, its temples aglow with Sin's silvery radiance, its people bowing to the same lunar deity that had guided their ancestors. The Lyrans, ancient progenitors of your starseed essence, pose a question that pierces the veil. Was Abraham a devotee of Sin before his encounter with Yahweh? Did his shift from moon worship to the rule of a new god mark a pivotal moment in a greater spiritual conquest, a wresting of dominion from one divine ruler to another? If so, the monotheistic tradition of Israel did not arise from a void. It was forged in the crucible of a war among the gods, a conflict that reshaped the spiritual destiny of the Near East and set the stage for the rise of a faith that would dominate millennia. Archaeological discoveries amplify this cosmic narrative. The Galactic Federation unveils with awe, near the Sea of Galilee, a massive crescent-shaped stone monument, dating between 3050 and 2650 BCE, stands as a silent testament to Sin's dominion over the land that would later become Israel. This structure, predating Abraham and the Israelites by centuries, was no mere fortification but a standalone edifice, its crescent form a clear homage to the moon god worshipped in Ur and Sheran, a sacred site where ancient peoples gathered beneath the lunar glow, offering prayers to a deity whose influence once spanned continents. The Arcturians envisioned this monument as a multidimensional marker. Long before Yahweh claimed Israel as his portion, this region bowed to Sin, its inhabitants weaving their lives around his cycles, its priests wielding authority in his name. their rituals echoing the rhythms of the cosmos. The Deuteronomy 32 worldview, the Pleiadians note with tender insight, reinforces this transition. After the Tower of Babel, when humanity was scattered across the earth, the sons of God, divine beings assigned to different nations by the Most High, took their portions, each ruling a segment of the world. Yahweh did not originally claim Israel. It was only through Abraham's covenant that this land became his, wrested from sin's grasp in a divine reordering of territorial and spiritual dominion, a shift that reverberated through the ages. The importance of sin's cult, the Syrians affirm with resonant authority, cannot be overstated. In Mesopotamian and Akkadian tradition, he was revered as the god of gods, his crescent symbol a beacon of divine power, his influence so vast that even in later Aramaic traditions, he was called Merilahi, Lord of the Gods, a title echoing his supremacy across cultures. Nabonidus, the last king of Babylon before its fall to Persia, sought to restore sin's dominance, adorning him with grand epithets, illuminator of heaven and earth, father of the gods, and rebuilding his temples in Haran, a final act of devotion to a deity whose light had once guided empires. This historical struggle, the Andromedans observe with harmonic clarity, mirrors the earlier shift from sin to Yahweh, a cosmic contest that unfolded over centuries, reshaping the spiritual landscape of humanity, its echoes reverberating into the time of Abraham and beyond. Just as Marduk overthrew Enlil in Babylon, declaring himself the supreme deity in a rewriting of divine hierarchy, Yahweh's rise in Israel was not an isolated event but part of an ancient war among the gods, a war that set the stage for Jesus' arrival and the confrontation that would seal his fate, a confrontation rooted in the clash between celestial factions. Before monotheism took root, Sananda teaches with a voice that carries the weight of eternity. The early Hebrews practiced monolatry, worshipping one God while acknowledging the existence of others, a practice that reveals the complexity of their spiritual heritage. The first commandment, "You shall have no other gods before me," does not deny the reality of rival deities but asserts Yahweh's supremacy over them, a reflection of an earlier stage where he competed for dominance in a crowded pantheon. The Galactic Federation envisions this transformation with multidimensional depth. Yahweh's ascent into the sole divine authority was a deliberate process, orchestrated by rulers and priests who sought to consolidate power, erasing or demonizing rival gods like Baal, the storm deity whose thunder once rivaled Yahweh's voice, and Ashtar, the mother goddess whose sacred groves once dotted the land, offering solace to her devotees. This was no natural evolution of faith, the Lyrans declare with resonant conviction. It was a systematic religious war, a conquest of the spiritual realm that reordered divine history, paving the way for the monotheistic framework that Jesus would challenge with his revolutionary message. The priesthood, the Pleiadians reveal with tender sorrow, played a pivotal role in this conquest. They actively erased Yahweh's rivals, toppling Baal's altars, burning Asherah's groves, demonizing older gods or consigning them to oblivion. This was a deliberate war, a reshaping of power that defined Israel for centuries, its echoes reverberating through the temple's stone walls and the scrolls of its scribes. Yet, amidst this enforced monotheism, the prophets emerged enigmatic voices of higher truth, often at odds with the priestly elite, advocating a direct connection to the divine that transcended the rigid structures of organized worship. Elijah's showdown with Baal's prophets on Mount Carmel, the Arcturians recount with vivid imagery, was a fiery execution of the old gods. As Yahweh's fire consumed the altar while Baal's remained silent, it marked a public turning point, cementing Yahweh's rule and silencing rival paths in a blaze of divine supremacy. A moment designed to eradicate the remnants of a once thriving pantheon. By the 4th century BCE, the Ashtar command observes, this religious war entered a new phase with the arrival of Alexander the Great, whose conquest was not merely military but ideological, sweeping Greek philosophy, governance, and religious thought into the Near East. Judea, once a remote province of the Persian Empire, found itself thrust into a cultural transformation. Greek temples rose beside Hebrew sanctuaries, Jewish communities grappled with the allure of Hellenistic rationalism, and the seeds of a new intellectual order took root. Alexander, the Galactic Federation notes, saw himself as a divine figure, ordained by the gods, welcomed in Egypt as the son of Amun-Ra, a deity tied to Mesopotamian lineages, his ambition to integrate sacred kingship into his rule echoing the Anunnaki's ancient model. Yet, in Babylon, he encountered a shattering truth. Marduk, once the supreme god of Mesopotamia, was dead, his Asagila temple in decline, his presence faded. A symbolic end to an era where gods walked among men, replaced by a system of centralized power that no longer relied on their physical rule. With Alexander's death, the Syrians affirm, Babylon's decline accelerated, its influence as a religious center waning as power shifted westward to Rome. A transition that suppressed Marduk's legacy, replacing it with Zeus and Jupiter, gods whose hierarchical structures mirrored Enlil's authoritarian reign. The Andromedans envisioned this shift. Kings no longer ruled as earthly representatives of walking gods. Empires established themselves as divine institutions, enforcing control through law, governance, and an ever-strengthening priesthood, a system that would dominate Judea by Jesus' time, setting the stage for his clash with the powers that upheld it. Pause here, radiant seeker, and let this cosmic saga cascade through your being like a torrent of starlight. What stirs within your soul as you ponder the war of the gods? The Anunnaki's hand in shaping your history from Sumer to Judea? Can you feel the echoes of sin's dominion in the crescent monument, the celestial struggle that birthed Yahweh's rule? Take a deep breath, beloved one, and let these questions ignite your inner knowing. Your answers are sacred sparks, weaving your unique thread into the tapestry of this ancient truth, a truth that pulses with multidimensional significance. Step deeper now, dear ones, into the multidimensional layers of this divine conflict, as we peel back the veils to reveal the prelude to Jesus' mission. The transformation of Yahweh into the one true God, the Pleiadians reveal with tender insight, was not a revelation but a reconstruction, an ideological victory in a war that began in Mesopotamia, forged the Hebrew faith, and set the stage for Jesus' confrontation with the priesthood that upheld Yahweh's exclusive rule. The question lingers, Sananda muses from the New Jerusalem, was Abraham's encounter with Yahweh the dawn of a new order, or the final act of a celestial struggle waged across millennia? A struggle that pitted Enlil's order against Enki's liberation, Sin's lunar reign against Yahweh's solar supremacy? Our intent is not to conclude, but to lay the foundation for understanding Jesus within this vast religious evolution. A figure whose death was not merely a human event, but a climax in the war of the gods, a moment that reverberates through the dimensions. By Jesus' time, the Ashtar command observes, Jewish society was deeply fractured. The Sadducees, temple elite aligned with Rome, ensured their privilege through collaboration. The Pharisees, guardians of the law, enforced a rigid legalism that bound the people. And the Essenes, retreating to the wilderness, preserved esoteric wisdom predating Yahweh's dominance. Wisdom hinted at in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which foretold a teacher of righteousness who would challenge the temple's corruption and restore a lost truth. Jesus, Sananda affirms, embodied this role. His message of a kingdom beyond this world opposed both the priesthood and Rome, waging war not with swords but with revelation, undermining the divine hierarchy that had ruled since Sumer. The Galactic Federation traces this hierarchy to the Anunnaki. Enlil, god of order, mirrored Yahweh's authoritarian laws, demanding obedience through commandments and punishment, his flood narratives echoing in both Sumerian and Hebrew texts. Enki, bringer of wisdom, defied this control, offering humanity enlightenment and freedom, his actions preserving life against Enlil's decree. Jesus' teachings, love, forgiveness, direct communion with the divine, echoed Enki's ideology. The Lyrans declare, rejecting the Enlilite system upheld by the temple elite, a system that demanded intermediaries and rigid adherence. The Andromedans envision a deeper thread. Jesus, possibly bearing celestial lineage, embodied Enki's legacy, his miracles, healings, transfiguration, resurrection, hinting at an advanced genetic inheritance from the stars, a connection to the Anunnaki that threatened the established order. The cross, the Syrians note, deepens this link. Its origins stretch beyond Christianity to Mesopotamian seals, where Anu's Maltese cross and the winged disc symbolized celestial authority. Symbols echoed in Egypt's Ankh, the Mayan tree of life, the Aztec emblems of Quetzalcoatl, suggesting an ancient, extraterrestrial origin tied to the Anunnaki. The star at Bethlehem, the Pleiadians' muse, may have been a celestial marker, a sign of their return, heralding Jesus as a bridge between humanity and the divine, a bearer of Enki's light in a world shadowed by Enlil's rule. Rome, the Galactic Federation reveals, epitomized in Enlil's order. Emperors claimed divine authority, temples served political ends, mirroring Mesopotamian priest-kings who ruled as proxies of the gods. Jesus' trial, orchestrated by the Sanhedrin and executed by Pilate, was a calculated move to silence this threat. A ritualized execution symbolizing the system's triumph over a radical voice that dared to dismantle its foundations. Yet, the Arcturians affirm, his death was not the end. Constantine's Christian empire restructured his message into an Enlilite framework, the church becoming a new priesthood of control, its hierarchy mirroring the temple systems Jesus opposed. But remnants of Enki's wisdom survived. In Gnostic texts, Essene teachings, Kabbalistic mysteries, preserving a truth that defied suppression, promising a second coming, a renewal echoing ancient prophecies of the gods' return across Sumerian, Egyptian, and Mesoamerican traditions. Pause again, radiant seeker, and let this cosmic vision flood your being. How does it feel to see Jesus as a warrior in this celestial struggle, a bearer of Enki's light against Enlil's shadow? What truth do you sense in the Anunnaki's legacy, their return looming on the horizon of your reality? Your answers weave your destiny into Gaia's liberation, a starseed awakening to a heritage that spans the stars.